What's going on, Laker fans? Welcome into the Lakers Report podcast. I'm your host, Jimmy Crowther, breaking down the 105-86 loss the Los Angeles Lakers suffered at the hands of the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm going to break down the highlights, even though there weren't that many, the stats, and what this game really means in the grand scheme of everything, and then we'll kind of preview the next game as well. Now, like I said, I'm your host, Jimmy Crowther. Most of you are not following me on Twitter, so if you go to @Jimmy_Crowther, I'm going to put it in the link of this description, and I'm going to put it in the comment section. So the next 25 of you that follow me, I'm going to give a shout out on the next podcast, the next post-game podcast. So go follow me on Twitter, but let's keep breaking down this game. Like I said, 105-86, the Lakers lose it. And I don't want to press the panic button. There's absolutely no reason to press the panic button, actually, because we already know the Lakers locked up the number one seed in the Western Conference. And to be honest, and to be completely fair, right out of the gates, it looked like the Lakers had just kind of mailed it in. It looked like they didn't really get up for this game, in all honesty. And that's not in all reality, it's okay to take it easy just a little bit right now because, let's face it. The number one seed in the Western Conference, you're not really playing for anything right now except to keep knocking off some rust after being off for what seems like forever. But it's still a loss, and there's still some ugly components of this game that we're going to have to talk about, and I kind of want to break all those down and what it really means for this Laker team. And you never want to lose a game, especially when it's your first game back in forever. But you also especially don't want to lose a game in this fashion, getting beat by almost 20 points by the Oklahoma City Thunder, who admittedly, I believe, are a top four team in the Western Conference. I believe it goes the Lakers, the Clippers, the Nuggets, and then the Oklahoma City Thunder. Based on the way they're playing right now, they are a top four team in this Western Conference. So they are a good team, but they should not beat the Lakers by 19 points, no matter how much or how little the Lakers care about the game. When you look at the stats, everybody played their pretty normal minutes almost. Now, Anthony Davis played 29 minutes, LeBron James plays 30 minutes, JaVale 22, Danny Green 23, and KCP plays 18. Of course, there was no Dwight Howard in this game. Not pretty, but I'm also not that worried about it. So let's talk about this game in depth here more in just a little bit. So why does this loss matter? Why am I somewhat worried about this loss? Well, the thing that was ugly to me was just the fact that there was no effort at all right out of the gates. At least out of the gates, come out and be on fire just a little bit, man. LeBron James comes out, 19 points, 7 of 19 from the field. 0 of 5 from 3, and that was the biggest worry, is that this team looked like they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn with their jump shot. Anthony Davis goes 0 of 3 from 3. LeBron goes 0 of 5 from 3. JaVale McGee obviously doesn't shoot a 3. Danny Green goes 2 of 7 from 3. And let's talk about Danny Green here for a minute. What is going on with Danny Green? Do we need to do what we did with KCP and just bully him into being a good basketball player again? Because he has not been a good basketball player in the bubble. He just hasn't. Now he's had his flashes on the offensive end, or on the defensive end, but the offense hasn't been there for him, man. And he is building 100 new houses in Orange County with the amount of bricks that he's putting up. So he's got to be better. 2 of 7 from 3 ain't going to cut it for Danny Green when the playoffs roll around. KCP goes 1 of 3. 0 of 2 from Markieff Morris, 2 of 5 from Kyle Kuzma, 0 of 1 from Jared Dudley. Quinn Cook and J.R. Smith both go 0 of 2. Dion Waiters goes 0 of 4, and Alex Caruso goes 0 of 3. From the three-point range. Overall, 5 of 37 from three-point, 13.5%. That's my biggest worry about this team, because if they're not hitting their threes and you can't finish inside, that's a big problem. Now, again, I'll admit it, the Lakers looked like they were going about 70% this entire game because they already have the number one seed locked up. So there's no reason to worry. But there are things that you got to talk about and you got to, discuss, because at the end of the day, if the Lakers just mail in for these next 4 games, they're not going to be able to just turn it on for the playoffs. Now, LeBron's done it, his entire career, been able to take some load management nights and then go into the playoffs, but you can't do that in the bubble. Now, this game, you give them a pass because they just got that number one seed and they're kind of enjoying it and kicking it back, as LeBron said, but you can't have your star player going 7 of 19 from the field. You can't have your second best player, arguably your best player in the bubble right now, and Anthony Davis, going 3 of 11 and getting dominated down low by Steven Adams. If a big like Steven Adams, who actually has been great in the bubble, but as a whole hasn't been that good, is going to kill you down low, imagine what a big man like Nikola Jokic is going to do to you on a regular basis if you face him in the playoffs. It's not going to be pretty. Or even a Kristaps Porzingis in the Western Conference. You get one of those two premier bigs in the playoffs, and you're going to let Steven Adams go ahead and just put buckets on you, drop 18 points on you. There's something to worry about there. Now, the three-point shooting, again, real ugly, but the defense even uglier. Look, the thing that really kind of buried them early was just taking a bunch of unsolicited jump shots. Now, the foul call was, it was absolutely ridiculous in the early part of the game. The refs were blowing the whistle every single time the Lakers tried to do anything defensively. They could not defend without fouling, and it was really frustrating to watch. Anthony Davis was in foul trouble with 5 fouls. Markieff Morris, in just 13 minutes, had 5 fouls. Nobody on the Oklahoma City Thunder, except for Nerlens Noel, who fouled out, had more than 4 fouls. So, the foul calls were here and there, and they were ticky-tacky calls for sure. But, man, there's a little bit of concern with this game, but I got to hand it to the Oklahoma City Thunder, man. They look solid. They had every single starter in double digits. Danilo Gallinari had 19 points. Steven Adams had 18. CP3 had 21. SGA had 13. And Lou Dort had 14 points. Lou Dort, by the way, great defensive player. So I'm definitely not over-worried. I'm not over-hyping this loss. But I do think there are things to examine. And there's a reason that, if the Lakers go into these next 4 games and just mail it in, there's going to be worry because you can't have LeBron and AD just taking a night off every single night for these next 4 games. But we got to talk about LeBron, man. That jump shot does not look good. It does not look good at all. And he's looked a little bit winded when he's getting to the rim. There are things that I'm just like, I got to see more out of him in these last games. And right now we're not seeing it. They got the Houston Rockets up next on Thursday. And then so it's a back-to-back. They'll play again tomorrow. I would be surprised if we saw too much of LeBron or AD in that one because it's the second night of a back-to-back. But it is definitely something, to monitor with LeBron James. And then the Indiana Pacers on Saturday, and then the Denver Nuggets, and then they'll end the schedule with the Sacramento Kings before going into the playoffs. I need to see LeBron James shoot the lights out. I need to see LeBron James attack the basket. I need to see LeBron James be the aggressive number 1 option that we know he can be on this team. Now, do I want him playing 25 to 30 minutes a night? No. Do I want him to go 100% in the 20 minutes that he gets? Yes, because it didn't look like he was doing that. Him and Anthony Davis. So definitely things that I need to look at and need to see better results from the Los Angeles Lakers. But the Lakers, they got the number 1 seed again. So can you blame them for going halfway, 50%? No. But you got to be better than a 19-point loss to the Thunder, where most of your starters are playing most of the game. So to end the show and here after this quick ad, we're going to break down the box score and give you all the points and rebound leaders of this game. Now, despite looking like he was going about 75%, LeBron James did have 19 points and 11 rebounds, 4 assists, and a steal, 7 of 19 from the field, as I mentioned earlier. Your next leading scorer was Dion Waiters, who looked terrible. He looked terrible in the first half. As Charles Barkley would say, he looked terrible. Terrible with a U. 14 points, though, and 5 of 13 from the field. I think all of those buckets came in the second half, or in the fourth quarter, excuse me. So 14 points from Bubble Cheese there. Kyle Kuzma's your third leading scorer with 10 points. He also had 2 fouls, was a -3 in the box score. After that, Anthony Davis and Danny Green both had 9 points. AD, 9 points, 5 assists, 8 rebounds. A good passing night for him, but was in foul trouble, as I mentioned earlier, and didn't knock down a single 3-point jumper. Alex Caruso, 7 points and 3 assists. He played some great defense tonight. I was very impressed with what I saw from him, but I am every night. It's not a new thing with Alex Caruso. It's what we've come to expect with the Caruso. KCP had 5 points, only knocked down 1 3 in 18 minutes of action. JaVale McGee had 6 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 monster block on Steven. I think it was on Steven Adams. No, it was on SGA, excuse me. Timed it perfectly on SGA. And then Quinn Cook, 2 points, -14. He didn't look good, man. He got extended minutes, 12 minutes tonight. But I was a believer in Quinn Cook coming into the season. And I really thought in the playoffs or late in the season he might be able to help with his experience on the the Golden State Warriors. But it's just not the case. He just doesn't look very good or very helpful. J.R. Smith, 0 points, 0 of 3 from the field, 11 minutes. Kostas Antetokounmpo, 0 points. Jared Dudley, 0 points. So not a great box score all around. Not a great game all around. Definitely something you want to just brush off and look past. Nobody was really looking worried. But, man, if there's one thing I got to see out of this Laker team, it's just jump shooting. We need the jumpers to fall. The Lakers need the jumpers to fall if they're going to be championship contenders. Because if the three-point shot isn't falling, it's not like you're going to post up JaVale or Dwight Howard. You can post up AD and LeBron can post up smaller guards, but that jump shot's got to be falling, man. So, again, Lakers lose it 86-105. Not an overreaction here because they already have that number 1 seed locked up, and they're going to have a quick turnaround as they face the Houston Rockets tomorrow night. James Harden, Russell Westbrook. Should be a fun one, but Lakers might not be going 100% either, so we'll just have to wait and see. Laker fans, thanks for tuning in. As always, smash that like button, hit the subscribe, turn on your notifications, and comment down below. Go give me a follow on Twitter at Jimmy_Crowther, and I'll see you next time.